Did the Ricky Starks MJF match pay off? Mandy Rose finally responds to her fans, and Saraya thinks that AEW needs more titles. All that and more on today's Casual Wrestling Daily.
What is up, people? It is Thursday, December 15th. We have a solid Dynamite for Casuals recap in case you missed AEW last night, or if you just want to hear me talk about AEW because I tend to give some crazy perspective on AEW, but we have all that coming to you in the next, probably be at that in about 10 minutes. It's going to be a short show. Not a lot to talk about today. There's not a lot of news going around. We'll get a little bit of an update on Mandy Rose and then probably close it out with a little bit of AEW Saraya talk. Other than that, let's do a little housekeeping or maybe just a little PSA here, public service announcement. TikTok hates me again. I guess I'm back at it. I posted some content yesterday about Mandy Rose. And once again, the fucking cringy, toxic TikTok community just... They sit and preach this inclusive attitude in it that I guess that's for everybody not named Notorious Nerdy D. Because whenever I put something up, the immediate response is he's got to be trolling or this is an L take. Why? I guess I'm just not allowed to have a differing opinion from the rest of TikTok. So I have flirted with the idea of getting completely off of TikTok. It has absolutely no benefit to content creation. It is the most delusional place on the internet. It is a place that makes people believe they are famous. These people, they get up to 20,000 followers. They start thinking they have a following because this echo chamber of people respond to the videos they make. But it's all a delusion. Like, it's not a real content creation site. There's not much money to be made unless you're doing like viral content. So I flirted with the idea of getting off of TikTok, but I think for the time being, I'm going to double down. I'm going to double down and I'm just going to post my most crazy takes on there and let them just have at it like sharks and see what I can do. But the analytics clearly state it's not translating over to YouTube. Nobody, that audience doesn't come over. The few of you that have come over from TikTok, I commend you because you somehow have risen above the toxicity. But the rest of them are just there to argue. They want to argue against the 15 seconds that I post and not do any research further to see what the video is actually about. And they try to blame me. Like, they try to blame me for using TikTok as a commercial for my long form content. They want to come after me and say things like, why don't you just post the entire video here? Because I'm not a TikTok creator. I'm not trying to appease the TikTok crowd. So I just, want to throw that out there that if you guys start noticing me posting less on TikTok, that's what's happening. Right now, I'm going to go the opposite direction. That's always kind of what I feel is the best solution to when there's a problem is instead of running away from it and going, well, this isn't working. Why spend time on it? I'm just going to bombard it with content for the next week or two and see what happens. I'm still getting good viewership on TikTok, but it's just not translating to anything positive. The goal for this channel is long form content. It is this YouTube channel, the podcast, the Daily Show, the Friday Show. That is the goal for this channel. And TikTok has never been anything other than just a commercial for the long form content. I just needed to rant that. I needed to get that out there before we get started on the show today. Now we can get into the stuff that really matters. Like, don't forget that we are on patreon.com/The Casual Wrestling Show. Just make sure, hit the follow button. If you want to become part of the Casual Wrestling bloodline, you can do that by becoming a patron for just $5 a month. Like our current Patreon producers, it's Zinni, Reedus JC, and my boy Noobs. And then don't forget to hit the like button on this video. It helps us get into the algorithm and just helps us grow on YouTube, which is, like I said, That is the goal. That is where we're trying to go. So let's talk about some wrestling. More importantly, let's do a little recap of AEW Dynamite. So show opens, right? And we get a weird clusterfuck of music. And I don't know if it was intentional, but we got the traditional AEW theme song with an underlying NBA on NBC song playing behind it. Now, I was correct in saying that Tony Khan 100% bought that song for the Elite, and it appears that song is now the official theme song of the Best of 7 series between the Elite and the Death Triangle. Once again, it's just a guy with too much money able to buy things and do things that make him feel special. I think that's lost on so many people what that song actually is. You have to be in your 30s, probably your late 30s, and you have to have been a basketball fan who watched the NBA Finals to understand what that song, the significance of that song. If not, you're just wondering why there's this weird kind of 90s feeling trumpety, symphony song playing during the AEW intro. And so then we start off the show with another of the best of 7. Another best of 7. And we get the entrances and we get told by I believe it was Tony Schiavone that the AEW has such great entrances. I don't need that to be explained to me. I see it. I'm okay. It's almost like they're reaching out, trying to get the casual fans to pay attention, yet they're putting on a show for the IWC. The marketing in AEW is so confusing to me. Like they promote a shoe at Champ Sports that is a AEW licensed shoe. Who, I don't understand. Are the IWC running out and buying Death Triangle licensed shoes? It's a cool idea, but that idea seems like it works way better in WWE than it does in AEW. I just don't know that like the Death Triangle is the marketable, like they're not the commercial product that you want selling at like Champ Sports. How did that license even come to be? That's what I don't understand, is things like that. But we got another best of 7 match. And it just felt like the other 4 or 5. I don't even know what number. I think was that 4? I think we're going into the 5th in San Antonio. But what is unique about these matches? Like, I get, like, there is excitement in every one, but they all just, it's a fucking blur to me. They all are exactly alike. They're fun to watch, but nothing, there's nothing that stands out about any of them except that maybe the hammer gets used in a different point of the match. But every Elite and Death Triangle match feels exactly the same. It's a bunch of high spots. It's a bunch of flips. It's a bunch of kicks. And there's so many high spots in these matches that inevitably there's 2 or 3 big botches per match. There was a moment where someone from Death Triangle ran down the ropes and completely missed. There was a couple other botches that I remember, but I don't completely understand this best of 7. It just seems like it's a lot of fan service, or not even fan service. It's more service for the Elite. I think this was probably the Elite's idea. I'm guessing, I don't think, I know. This had to be the Elite's idea. This was their big comeback plan to ease themselves back in, and now they are just a spectacle of a weekly television. But one thing I will say, this is one thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to compliment the Elite on. The Elite do know how to be entertaining in the moment, and they know how to, even if the references are weirdly subtle and specific, the Nick Jackson getting injured in the match, going to the back, then coming back out was very like Larry Bird-ish in the sense of like old school sports fans understand that like a guy getting hurt, going back to the locker room, then fighting his way back out after being kind of told not to come back out. That has some nostalgia, but that's like for the 35 plus year old fans who will understand that. So I don't ever know like I don't ever know who AEW is really trying to appeal to. I don't know who the Young Bucks are trying to appeal to. I don't know what the Elite are trying to do. But this best of 7 thing, here we go again with AEW logic. We get told now that match 5, 6, and 7 have stipulations. Well, obviously we're getting match 5, 6, and 7. So there's no mystique to this anymore. We don't have to guess. This is going to go 7 matches. That's bad. That's bad booking. That's bad storytelling. They shouldn't have told us that. They should have let us just know at the end of the match. I thought it was okay for Kenny Omega to go match 5, no disqualification. They could have even said if match 6 was this. They shouldn't have told us what match 7 is, because that just implies that we're getting a match 7. I don't like stuff like that. I don't like the mystique in this should have ended in 6. I believe this should have ended in 6 so that in the future, when you do this, there's parity, and we believe that these best of 7s are not just a setup for 7 matches, that there is a possibility that someone could get swept or something. What else happened? Jeff Jarrett came out. He attacked the Acclaim. Can AEW not get better props? His guitar was fucking terrible. Like, you could see it was made of cardboard on his way out to the ring. So, I mean, some of these things that AEW does, it just lends me to go second-rate company. And I wanted to, like, overall, I'm going to tell you guys, I enjoyed AEW Dynamite tonight, but there's little things that last night, but there's little things that I see that make me go like janky. That's jank. That guitar was janky. It doesn't do something that looks like a guitar. If you're going to actually take a guitar shot to the head, make a guitar that doesn't look like you're getting hit by a poster board. It looks like you're getting hit by a science project. There are better props at a high school play than Tony Khan. Can he not get a better prop department so that we can get Jeff Jarrett a better guitar that looks like a legitimate weapon instead of just being hit over the head with cardboard? I don't get that. And then I got to talk about something else while I'm on an AEW rant here, because I'm kind of on one today. But literally, does everybody in AEW have a belt? And I know, I've talked about this before, how many belts there are, but it just seems like everybody who comes down that ramp, Brian Cage, has a belt. We need to separate out the Ring of Honor from the AEW, from the weird non-sanctioned belts. We're like, somebody, I'm going to have to be given a pamphlet, or there should be a web page that explains what belt goes where and why it's here, because there's just way too many. This guy's part of the 6-man trio tag team Ring of Honor division under 240 pounds. It's like cheerleading. There's just so many divisions. There's so many fucking belts. It seems like everybody who comes to the ring has some form of a belt on. And this guy's involved in the tag team trios, and he's part of a team, but his team's nowhere to be seen, and he's fighting with Jungle Boy. Like, it's just, this is the shit that AEW does that you go as a casual fan, what is the circus? How do I keep up with the circus? And like Jungle Boy and Brian Cage, it didn't interest me. It's not a match that I'm interested in. It had an extremely embarrassing finish. I thought a very poor finish. But like, that just mid-card shit. I will say Big Bill, he's an impressive human being. Big Cass, if you don't know, they changed his name to Big Bill. He's impressive. They need to lean into that more. There's a possibility to really get Big Bill over with the crowd. But then you bring him out, he does some kind of spectacle shit. He does some shit that a big guy does, and then you double down by bringing Hook out, and you have Big Bill run away. This logic doesn't make sense to me, Khan. This doesn't, I don't get, who is writing these stories? Big Bill should never run away from little ass Hook. I don't care if you want to put them in the ring together. I don't care if you want to sell me a story where Hook does the unbelievable and beats Big Bill at some point. But you cannot sell me on the story that big ass Cass, big ass Bill is running away from Hook. You're not selling me on that. It just like, I don't get it. Talk about the House of Black. House of Black is an interesting group. I don't have a lot of experience. I've kind of watched and not watched and watched, and now I finally committed to watching AEW, but this was my first time seeing the whole group together. They're impressive. There's something there. Now, if they're booked correctly, that can become something. If they're just floated around the mid-card, I don't know what you do. I mean, give them one of those 1,000 belts you have, or put them in something meaningful. But as a group, they work. Malachi Black looked phenomenal. I think Malachi Black, maybe the most underutilized and most confusing book for a promoter that I've ever seen in watching professional wrestling, because everything about him screams marketable, commercial viability, got Undertaker vibes, got his own kind of vibes, kind of got Bray Wyatt vibes. He's got like a package that works in that like paranormal type way, yet he just kind of continuously gets booked into the mid card. I don't think people know how to book an Undertaker-like character anymore. And I appreciate that, because I think that the art of like character is gone in professional wrestling. So seeing someone like Malachi Black have a actual character, have a group that has a, I will say, like, I know there was comparisons for the Judgment Day and the House of Black early on. The Judgment Day are obviously just a gang of hoodlums. House of Black read on television as a group of badass motherfuckers. And so I want to see them double down on that. I want to see them. I like this like vendetta that House of Black is on, and I hope that they're continued to be booked in a way that allows them to flourish. I don't want to see every wrestler run back to WWE. I don't want to see Malachi Black run back to WWE. I want to see him be successful in AEW and give, just get over in that position, because I think he fits there. What else? Jericho versus the Jobber. So when AEW does something right, it does something extremely right. And this is one of those moments where AEW and Chris Jericho, they got it extremely right. And I think Jericho, more than anybody in AEW, that's who the company needs to lean on for their creative, because he understands storytelling. He understands creating emotional investments. And the Let's Go Jobber chant shows you 100% how Jericho is able to manipulate the crowd and get them to basically do anything that Jericho wants them to do, including chanting for a jobber, including putting over a jobber. That was the most effective job of putting over somebody. And let's stop calling him Jobber. His name is Action Andretti. He looked good in the ring. He has a good look. He moved well. And Jericho sold me on him. So now immediately he's somebody who's on my radar. And that's all thanks to Chris Jericho. That's why Jericho's my GOAT. This is why, because it goes beyond just the ability to wrestle, the ability to tell a story, the ability to have personality, to reinvent yourself. It also goes to this ability to just understand the psychology of professional wrestling, which nobody understands like Chris Jericho. I'm convinced at this point that Chris Jericho, maybe Paul Heyman, there's a small group, I'd have to really sit down to think about it, but there are a small group of minds who just understand professional wrestling better than everybody else. And if those people were left to run creative, Jericho should be running creative in AEW. I believe it 100%. I don't think he's ready to step away from the ring, but I think that when Jericho's finally ready to step away from the ring, Tony Khan needs to write a big fat check and just say, you're in charge of creative, because the things he does, some of it hits, some of it misses, but it's always at least an attempt to be innovative. And I thought this was one of those times when it just fucking hit. And I liked this. I really, really, really liked the Let's Go Jobber. I thought that he sold it. I liked the little like baby rant he threw as he went back to the locker room, because even that was kind of over the top. It was even kind of like a baby throwing a tantrum, but it works when you're Chris Jericho. And then we got to talk about the big show, right? And not the big show as in the big show. I mean the main event, because that's what this was. That's what this whole event was built around. Was winter is coming, and this is the championship match for the Dynamite Diamond Ring and the AEW World Championship. And could Ricky Starks step up to the table and perform on the biggest stage that he's probably ever performed on? And I think he did. I think that was an effective main event. I don't know. I haven't read what everybody else is saying, nor do I really give a fuck. I'll tell you, based on my opinion, I think that hit. I think that main event hit. I think they've got 2 stars. I think MJF, best heel in the business. Pure heel. Best pure heel in the business. I'll say it again. MJF is the best pure heel in the entire professional wrestling business. You can argue that all you want. I don't care about the X's and O's. I don't care about the the actual wrestling, his ability to do heel things, get over with the crowd, his theatrics, all of that stuff, it's phenomenal, man. He can tell a story. He understands the entertainment side of pro wrestling, something that typically is missing in AEW. But a show, you notice, a show when you get Chris Jericho involved and you get MJF involved and they actually have like legitimate roles in that episode, it's a good episode for casual fans. It's a good episode for people like me who like the theatrics of wrestling. The theatrics in that match were awesome. The start of that match, it felt like a main event. It felt like a big time match where I usually criticize AEW for being all over the place and not building up to that apex, that climax. This was what I want with AEW. The event ramped up. We finished with the match that mattered. We got the Justin Roberts announcing each guy. We got the Ricky Starks doing the thing and MJF hitting his thing. And it all came together in a way that it felt like the biggest thing in wrestling this week. And I think that's what AEW has to aim for, is hitting those single moments that feel like the biggest thing in wrestling. And that's what it felt like to me. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care how technically sound MJF is. I don't notice the discrepancies. That's what you guys have to understand. And that's why I'm speaking from a casual fan's perspective. When I watch MJF, other people may go, oh, he missed that. Oh, he's slow there. Oh, he doesn't do that well. My eyes don't read that. I don't have what they call it in music is they call it producer's ear. When you're a musician and you listen to other people's music, you start to develop where you look at it and you listen to it and you hear the flaws and you hear the science of it. I don't have producer's ear when it comes to wrestling, which allows me to stay a casual fan. I watch the match. The theatrics sell me. If they wrestle good enough, it's good enough for me. I thought Ricky Starks looked good. I thought MJF looked good. And I thought for the two guys that were in the ring in the moment, they sold me. That was a good main event. Now, moving forward, Tony Khan is going to have to sacrifice some people in order to get MJF and make him legit. Because it can't be Ricky Starks. It can't be that caliber of talent. Ricky Starks stepped up and he did the best he could from the position he was in, but it can't be Ricky Starks every week. Bryan Danielson's a good start. Bryan Danielson is a good start for MJF. I don't love that you're feeding Bryan Danielson because I think that Bryan Danielson in his own right deserves an AEW championship run. But if you're going to make MJF legit, this right now, the plan that I'm seeing come to form with MJF, this is right. This is perfect. This is the way it should be. We go Ricky Starks. We go Bryan Danielson. We got to keep feeding MJF big names and let him cheat his way to victories. These guys can continue to look strong because they can beat the life out of MJF and he can just keep finding creative ways to cheat himself to victory. I'm all in on this. I am. I like MJF as a champion. And once again, I'm not on this train that MJF should jump to WWE. If MJF can make a name for himself in AEW and become this amazing heel, it's only better for the business if we can look at both companies. And I do, trust me, I tend to hate on AEW because I see so much wrong. But I still know in my heart of hearts that wrestling is better when both companies are performing at a high level. So I'm excited. I'm excited moving forward. There's still a lot of garbage on AEW. Don't get me wrong. Like the Ruby Soho match and Ty Mello match it was kind of messy and all over the place. There was a couple other matches I don't even remember that I didn't love. Didn't think they were great. But for those little moments where AEW hit this week, it hit well and it really resonated with me, a casual fan. All right, only a couple news stories to talk about today, so we'll be out of here in probably the next 5 to 10 minutes. But Mandy Rose finally came back and addressed her fans following her release from WWE. And her statement was simply something of like, don't worry, my website's still up. Clearly, she's not affected by this. Clearly, Mandy Rose is not bothered by her release. I think that she, from what I've heard, all reports that I've heard, Mandy Rose kind of knew that she was going against the rules of WWE. She was really just kind of waiting to see what the consequences would be. But when you're making more money doing something on the side, you're not, when push comes to shove, you're going to do what's best for you and your family, and you're going to do what makes you the money. Now, I laugh, and we're going to talk about this on tomorrow's podcast with Lauren, but I'm going to touch on it a little bit today. There's these fucking white knights that have come out of the woodworks, all of these content creators who fucking want to jump to the side and never can say something negative about a woman or like the predicament she puts herself in. I understand. Look, Mandy Rose is 100% free to produce whatever kind of content she wants. But let's be real. The WWE is allowed to release her from her contract for whatever they deem not to be appropriate. And these content creators who are creating these like hashtag justice for me, what justice are you looking for? Now, the argument that WWE used Mandy Rose in a sex appeal position, of course they did. She's an attractive woman. She was more attractive than she was talented. That's not a secret. She held the AEW champion, or not the AEW, she held the NXT championship for over a year because of the demographic and the people she was bringing in. It was not that she was the best women's wrestler on the NXT roster. Don't make that argument, guys. Don't be the white knight. Be okay with the fact that that something happened and both sides are correct. Mandy Rose is 100% correct in the fact that if she's making more money, she should take her bag and leave. But WWE is 100% correct in if this doesn't match up to what they want their champion to do, they can get rid of that champion. And it rolls right into story number 2. And story number 2 here is that Shawn Michaels, the minute he found out what kind of content was being produced on Mandy Rose's website, he wanted the championship belt off of her. So now are all you white knights going to be mad? Am I going to see this huge pitchfork and torches for Shawn Michaels? Are you guys going to come cancel Shawn Michaels because he didn't think she was best for business? Whatever, right? This is how companies work. And don't call hypocrisy. Don't call double standards. The WWE does not want their NXT Women's Championship rating dudes dinger-dongers. I'm sorry. That's not the look they want. Because nobody who's creating content acknowledges that part of what is going on. I think WWE was probably okay when she was doing like lingerie and bathing suits. It was right on the line, but they probably were like, it's not enough for us to really attack this. Then she went and added the ability to send a picture of your dinger-donger to her, and she gets to rate it. And so she's rating WWE fans dinger-dongers. And WWE goes, I don't think I don't know. And then it gets to Shawn Michaels and he's like, no, we can't do, no, NXT Women's Champion cannot be doing this. And that's okay. It's okay for Mandy Rose to do what she wants. She can take her ball and go home. And it's okay for WWE to go, this is not what we want from our women's champion. We don't need a hashtag justice for Mandy. Mandy's going to be just fine, guys. One of two things are going to happen. One, her popularity will start to wean off as she doesn't have a platform to promote herself. And she will eventually get to the point where her it's not OnlyFans, but I'm gonna call it her OnlyFans content is not making the money that she wants, and she'll shut it down and she'll return to WWE, or she will go sign with AEW where they are okay with this kind of thing, and she will continue her career there. Neither one of those is a bad thing. It just so happens that Mandy Rose might not be the right fit for WWE, and WWE may not be the right fit for Mandy Rose, and all of that is okay. But this idea that people want to be mad, they want to be mad at the truth, and the truth is that WWE has every right in the world, Shawn Michaels has every right in the world, if he does not like the content that she is creating outside of their platform, even if they're using her in a sexualized way on their television show, they still have the ability to draw the line and say rating dinger dongers is too far. That's it. That's too far. You crossed the line. Because I don't know, I've heard reports that there was actually leaked videos and things like that. I don't think that's WWE tends to kind of try to help people out and sweep that under the rug. But what I think what happened is maybe if a video leaked in conjunction with the fact that you have a website where you're doing these things, WWE probably came to her and said, all of this put together is not a good look. You're going to have to make a choice. And Mandy said, I get it. I'm not taking the website down. It makes too much money. And they parted ways. That's my opinion. I don't know. That could all be wrong, but that's what I feel like happened. Last story of the day here is Saraya came out and called for an AEW women's tag team division. Why the fuck wouldn't you, right? You got every other belt possibly known to man in AEW. Why not create more belts? I joke about it. I have no problem. AEW women's tag team division is probably needed. I think that AEW more importantly needs to start creating some clarity and separate their television shows and separate their belts so that one episode of Dynamite doesn't literally have everybody walking out to the ring. But I'm with Saraya on this. I think if you're trying to legitimately build a women's division, you need 4 belts. You need a major women's championship. Like, I think WWE needs a mid-card women's championship, which, don't kid yourself, that's what Jade Cargill has. You can call it a main, but it's a mid-card belt. And then you need tag team championships. Because with tag team championships, you can feature a lot more people, and you can get them, start giving them the ability to talk a little bit, give them the ability to feel like what it's like to be a champion. It's almost an audition. I feel like, to me, you have 2 auditions. You can either audition in the tag team world, or you can audition in a mid-card style feud or program. And if you do successful there, then you can get promoted up to a major championship. But I'm with Saraya on this. I'm all about it. I mean, at this point, fuck it, right? If you have 1 million belts, then just lay into it and have 1,000,002. What does it matter at that point? And that's not me making fun of it. I really do believe that AEW needs women tag team belts. Maybe the better thing would be to start eliminating some of the men's belts. Is to look and go, like, we could get rid of like 30% of these men's belts. But that's pretty much all I've got today. Me and Lauren will be doing our show. We're actually going to record part of it tonight because Lauren has something to do tomorrow. So we'll record part of the show tonight, and this tag is bothering the shit out of me. We'll record part of our show tonight, then I'll probably do the news by myself tomorrow. So that way we're able to do a couple more current events. But that's all I got for you today, my friends. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Make sure to like this video. Hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds to help this channel grow. As always, I am the Notorious Nerdy D, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.
Step in the ring, if you ready, let's go. Ay, casual wrestling community show. You already know, talking WWE. Keep it rolling and hosted by Notorious Nerdy D. Don't be sure that you gon' find. Tune in cause it's online. Hit him with a figure 4 leg lock, power driver or clothesline. We bringing that heat like the show.